Is this on? Can everybody hear me? Okay. Let's
No.
call the meeting to order.
You don't have it on.
Call the meeting to order. Oh, here we go. Thank you. So we'll begin by reciting the pledge, please.
You're going. Yep, sorry. Don? Lee Van Landyke.
Present. Yeah, pull it towards you. It's on the top there.
Can you hear me, John?
Yep.
Yes.
Present.
Patrick Metz and Van Nelson are both excused. We have three here. We do have a quorum. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
I motion to approve the agenda.
They share motions. Don, would you care to second?
I'm sorry, I can't find the agenda here. I know I read it earlier, but am I the only person? Yes, well, having read the agenda prior to the meeting, I will second it.
Okay, so the motion has been moved and seconded to approve the agenda for today. And its posting is, as usual. Karen, everything's good? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, we do have an agenda. We have to review and approve the June meeting minutes. We were not able to meet last month because the courts were using this room, and so we postponed it until this time. So the minutes are still the same as what they had been for last time, and I think they were fine. So I'll move to approve those minutes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
You're seconding? Okay, then there's
I'll second
discussion.
your motion, but I'd like to make a comment on the minute.
Certainly.
We scheduled the meeting last month, and of course we had to cancel it because I guess the court was scheduled to be in here.
Correct.
I would hope that we could put on the agenda for the next meeting the options of other options for us when this room is being used. We have two more options in this courthouse. One is the conference room downstairs, called Conference Room C, and secondly, we have conference room of the Emergency Government Office. The third option, possibly using the conference meeting room at Health and Human Services. The reason I emphasize this is because this is crunch time for the budget, and we're a month behind on having insights and planning of our budget, merely because that meeting had to be canceled. So for the next agenda, next meeting, I would like to recommend to you that that item be placed on the agenda.
Understood. Karen and I spoke of this last time, and we had to postpone or cancel the meeting because of the room being used. And when I spoke to Karen, there was not that much on the agenda at that time that needed to be addressed. So we simply decided to push it back a month, and I think I wrote an email to everybody about that. So I understand what you're saying, and I agree. With having said that, we've approved, no, we didn't vote on the minutes, did we? Okay, so it's been moved and seconded that the minutes be approved. I may have a vote, please. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against, I guess it's unanimous. Introductions, are there introductions to be made?
You have the agenda that before it was updated.
Oh, gee. Okay,
It's the budget is item number 10. If we could move to that one initially,
okay.
and then come back.
I've got the old agenda.
Yep,
that
I'll have new agendas brought up for you.
Okay, thank you. So Peter's gonna bring it down? Okay. So I'll have to rely on you. I think we're gonna move the budget up to next because Clint has another meeting to go to. Thank you. So, CVSO grant, let's see, approval, budget. We'll go to number 10, budget report. We'll move on to next if that's okay. So Karen, you'll have to take over, please.
We actually cut our budget. The one that I put in for 2022, we actually cut it this year. And we were one of the few departments that was able to do that. As per actually, Commissioner Seep is the one that brought it to my attention. We conferred with the budget, the audit man, and we were able to cut the cost of the health insurance off of our budget so we were able to eliminate that from, and that had been suggested by Commissioner Seep last meeting. So I did look into that, and it was approved that yes, we could cut that off if we wanted to. So that's what we did.
Okay. So any other further report on that?
No, there was a kind of the county administrator put together a sheet. What is your office's goals, intentions? What is your job? What are you statutorily mandated for? What do you choose? What services do you choose to do? So I have given you guys all those sheets. As the budget was submitted, that's the copy that you guys have been given. And then the regular monthly budget, you've also been provided. And then I did also want to say that the only thing that will be coming out yet this year that wasn't planned for last year is that payment to Tyler for the new computer program.
Okay.
And that will be coming out before October 1st.
Okay. We've got the sheets here in front of us. There's quite a bit of people. Can you kind of consolidate what's all in there from give us a summary of that, please? No, where were we able to cut? Is that what you just?
Health insurance. We cut.
So and how much did that save us? Approximately.
$15,000 in the budget for the current year, based on the assumption that employee will be participating in health insurance. That employee, as I understand, is not. And so it's not considered this year as a budget item. It should be pointed out that it was not an expenditure that was current year. It's not an expenditure in In essence, it is not a cut in expenses, it's merely a removal of an item that was not being used. So there's a different slight nuance in the statement that we're cutting
John,
15,000.
you see the chat?
In respect to that, when you just speak, as a member right now, you should probably take a mask off. It's kind of hard to understand what you're saying.
Oh, well,
Probably on your mask, and I think it's creating.
like,
Yeah, just summarize it.
well, it's hard for me to summarize, but I'll try. $15,000 from the budget is not really a removal of an inherent expense because the $15,000 was placed in the current year's budget as a budget credit. Positions for as Karen indicated, chose not to enroll this year, so there was no expense. The expense this year for our health insurance in terms of that $15,000. So it's so that it's not a equivalent to call it a expenses because expense that money is not being spent. So it is not constitute a reduction in expenditures in the budget for 52. So to clarify that, but if somebody has a propensity to say there's a cut in expenses. Oh.
Yes.
So, yeah, somehow, I would have a question.
Okay.
The side of the ledger is the same. The side of the ledger is this.
It's okay. Works.
The right side of the ledger is the same as it was a year ago, in effect.
Don, can you try holding it a little further away from your mouth?
Oh, I can do that. For this way?
Yeah, I think you just got it too close.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All I do is button up with my thumb. On the right side of the ledger, you have primarily sources of revenue. You have the levy from the county, and you have the grant from the state. That's a minor donation. So that is essentially the same as the prior year. And the other side of the ledger in terms of expenditures is the subdivision adjustment in the salaries, correct, Mr. Lambert? And 7% adjustment in health insurance. Along with the concomitant adjustments in FICA. And so the hard dollars in terms of that increase have to be under the instruction that they increase in revenue. And can I be understood now? And is this
Yes,
all right? So sometimes there has to be cuts or adjustments in the budget to compensate for the 7% additional expense for salaries and related expenses to salaries. So other items were cut. The $15,000 doesn't have any meaning to me.
okay, Karen, were there any other expenses that were cut besides that, the insurance?
The sheets that I submitted, there were some, I'm sorry, Don, I know you, you have them in front of you. I know you'll have a chance to review them at a later time. There were a few funds that I moved around to different locations, that I felt that one of them was too high. So there were certain numbers that were adjusted from the numbers that we had last year. But those are, you can review on the sheets, but our budget is lower than it was this year.
So the things that you means that expenses, expenses. The increased expenses have a balance budget if you have the same revenues as you go.
Can I speak to this, Mr. Chair?
Certainly,
The
please.
guidance given out to departments through the administrator and through the finance and personnel office asks for departments to bring forward budgets with a 0% increase in expenditures to the levy limit, and that's in a budget context of proposed expenditures. As Supervisor Seep mentioned, the deferral of moving out an insurance, potential insurance expenditure that was not within the budget. Is it related to a direct expenditure? Potentially not. It ends up being like a liability shift from the department into what now would probably be visualized as a contingent type of a fund liability that we're carrying. But overall, in context of what was asked of departments to bring forward, it was a 0% levy increase in proposed expenditures to the budget.
Is,
Are you satisfied?
I am. It came in as guidance asked for.
Right. Will the committee be required to review and approve this budget, or is it subject only to your approval?
It's on, it's working, just stay where you're at.
The preliminary budget was brought forward to finance and personnel on this coming Friday to be presented out. Through that, then finance and personnel will have opportunities also next Tuesday through our discussions with the different departments on bringing forward if they have proposed changes to that budget. As indicated through the job description of the administrator, through the state statutes of the administrator, but then also considering the language that we have established through the committee structure, it is the purpose of finance and personnel to work with the administrator on a budget. It is the overall state statute requirement for an administrator to present a budget to the county board for approval. Does that answer your question, Supervisor C?
Yes, thank you. That's somewhat of an adjustment for me and for other committee members in this respect. In the past, the committee had an opportunity to review and work with the department head to put together a budget and to review and approve it, and it in effect was subject to review and approval in the past. So that's just a different adjustment which we'll have to make. Thank you.
And there's still opportunity. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, can I? There's still opportunity here today, and then through committee action if you want to make a recommended change to the budget. So that is still an opportunity afforded to you as well then as participating in those public meetings. Yourself, obviously, as a member with Finance and Personnel, Supervisor Seep, Supervisor Van Landite, of course, as a member of the county board, and then other folks in attendance to give recommendations and advice, either in a public meeting or up through their representative district supervisor as well.
Well, I'm satisfied with that. It would have been helpful, Mr. Langberg, if these budget documents could have been sent out to us ahead of time. I'm sure they have been done for quite some time as a courtesy, so that the committee could study them and be conversant with the nuances of the budget. It's difficult to come into a meeting and have a bunch of documents handed to you and to be able to analyze them at the meeting if you haven't seen them before. I think you would agree with that it would be fair. I think that we would, a fair expectation on the part of the committee to be able to review these documents prior to the meeting. Now, I'm not being critical here. I just would have preferred I would have been much more informed had I had an opportunity to review these budgets. I understand that your instructions to the department heads went out in a letter on May 31st. And in view of that, it seems to me that there was adequate time for the department head to communicate with and solicit the input of the committee members. And I'm not suggesting this as a personal criticism. It's just that I would offer it as a critique. I'm somewhat disappointed.
Thank you, Mr. Seep. We are running into a lot of first-time things this year because of Clint coming on as our administrator and Karen being responsible to him and his department. So our position is kind of shifting in terms of what we do. Because of what you said, if it's possible next year, when this is put out, if that could be put out early enough so that we could review this in advance. This is something that goes between Karen and the district administrator. And, they requested it. We have the opportunity to give our input, but we are not in a position where we would approve. So this is something that Clint and the other committee that you're on would do. So I totally agree. This is something that we should be aware of. So if next year, if we remember that far in advance, if we could do this early enough, this, of course, last month with us not being able to meet, that kind of threw another monkey wrench into the whole mess. So hopefully we'll get past this, and it seems like everything that's been written here is good. Clint approves of it, and Karen has done her duty. So with that, I think your point is noted and well stated, and we'll just kind of have to move forward with that. Is that satisfactory? So you're nodding yes. Yeah. Well, I was just making a general statement. So we're in a position right now where you are correct. We should, know this in advance of it, but this is not something we get to approve anymore.
Well, it's true that the process was interrupted by the fact that we didn't have a meeting last month.
Right.
And this is a matter that could have been on last month's meeting and more prepared. But
Yeah.
we didn't have a meeting last month.
Right. Well, having said that, the water's over the dam, so we're kind of in this position. So the budget report, is this something we need to vote on to just approve what has been sent to you, or is this just a report that to let us know that you've received a report?
You can, your options to use, you could make a motion to accept a report as given to you. If you want to make an action to recommend the budget to the Finance and Personnel Committee, you can do that as well. If you want to make other types of actions to amend it, to recommend making changes to it, you can make those recommendations as well.
Okay, well, this being new to us, I think we'll leave it as is if you're satisfied with it. And Karen's done her best work getting this through to you. I think I would move that we approve this being sent to the committee and to Clint. And that we'll make alterations next year because of the difference in the way things are run at this point. So I need a second then, please. Okay, Sherry, Philistine, yes. No, it's not on. Try it again.
I second it.
There you go. So it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
What is the motion?
That we accept this and advance it to the appropriate committees? We approve it. If there's any further objection that you may have, it's something that we brought up at the committees, other committee meetings.
I'd like to offer an amendment to this here one.
Okay. What would that be?
I would like to offer, use the word accept, the substitute for approve. We're not in a position to approve this budget based
I
upon
see.
limited
So-
information we have.
Okay, Karen?
I can amendment to say that you accept the report.
Okay, yes, so I said approve, he's suggesting accept, and I would second that motion. So all in favor of that change, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No one? So then we go back to the original motion, which has been changed to use the word accept. So all in favor of that motion, please say aye. Aye. Did I hear two other ayes or no? Okay, against? Okay, it's been passed. So we are done then with the budget report. Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I do apologize. I'll have to step out and run to the next meeting. Thank you
Yes.
for your time today. Thank you,
we-
Commissioner Hillis,
got
Commissioner
this
C,
problem
Secretary Knopf. Appreciate it.
every month because you have the airport committee to go to. So we appreciate you coming. Thank you.
Yep, we get past and again, thank you. We get past the improvement project, then might not have to be there every month, but thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. So then we can move back up to CVSO number 6, CVSO grant resolution approval.
This is a standing annual grant that I apply for every year through the state. There have been a couple of changes to it this year because in the past, the county clerk has actually been the one that signed the document. But all this does is it goes to the county board as an amendment or a resolution, and it gives me permission that sometime after October 1st, that I can apply and submit our county's application to the state of Wisconsin. I do it every year. This is the first time this committee is seeing it because I had done it prior to you taking over as the county board. Sorry, I'm stuttering.
I'm the same problem. I know what you mean.
So this is the first time, and there has been some changes. The county core council is making sure that the resolution will read true due to county administrator now probably being the one that would sign. So I put the application together, I submit all the numbers, all the paperwork, he reviews it, and then he signs it. And then it will get submitted to the state of Wisconsin. And this is for the $8,500 that I apply for annually. So, like I said, this is just an annual thing. It's very standard. So I need the committee's approval to recommend to the county board to pass the resolution.
Okay, this is pretty
Chairman,
cut
I
and
move
dried.
for-
Don?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman, that it
Hmm.
be forwarded.
Motions
George,
to approve this, okay. Sherry Hillesheim, seconds the motion. Any discussion?
Yes. Karen, in the past, there's been a requirement to submit for reimbursement. Is that no longer the case?
No, every year, what the requirements for this grant are gonna be change. And they shift and they move. This is a constantly moving, process. I've been here for 6 years and every year the requirements have been different and they've changed. So it's not a reimbursement any longer. There was a couple of years where you couldn't use any of the funds towards salaries. There were a couple of years you had to use so much towards each category. That is not, as of last year, it is not how it is anymore. However, October 1st through, and sometimes it's December before the time comes out for you to submit the application. I have no idea what this is gonna look like ahead of time. None of us do.
So you have no information in advance of getting this application, how the money can be used.
Correct. I have had to work with budget employees. I've had to work with the county clerk. Some years they want a certified budget, which Richland County doesn't do. Some years they want specific line items in our budget. I don't know until it happens. But I will keep you up to date as soon as my application goes through. You'll be provided copies of what that looked like.
The last publication I saw from Department of Veterans Affairs tried 50% of it available for salary. I don't know whether that's.
Yeah, that was about 4 years ago. Jeff was still here as the budget man. They changed it to 50% and then they changed it to 25%. And then they changed it one more time and then they completely disregarded that and said, yeah, you can use the whole thing for salaries.
Thank you.
So this is not a finalized resolution. We're still in discussion, right?
Yes.
Yep. These are not the finalized resolutions because the core council will be changing the verbiage on these. But I do have some, just for, since you've never seen them before, what they'll read like. If you'd like a copy, can I pass those out?
Certainly.
Why is the Corp Council changing the verbiage?
The past, the county clerk.
Oh, I see. You explained that already.
Okay, we are still in discussion. Is there anything further that needs to be said? Barry, did you have any comments? Okay. I think this is pretty straightforward. It's something that we do need to do, and no matter how they designate this to be done year to year, is something that we should do. So I think it's kind of a no-brainer. So let's take a vote on that. All of those who approve of this, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and no one's opposed. So this has now been approved. And what I can do is take my copy. We can all sign it before we leave today, so it can go before the board then. Is that correct? Is that?
No signature required.
No signatures required.
Oh, I
That's
see.
just, it was a draft for your eyes, just to,
Okay.
since you've never read it before.
That makes total sense. Thank you. Then we move to number 7, Veterans ETK software update.
Just to keep you guys up to date, like I said, during the budget report, the money will be coming out of my budget prior to October 1st. And training on the program begins on Monday. So since we haven't technically purchased it, we haven't paid for it yet. We've got to pay the bills yet. And so they're just giving us initial training, but there hasn't been any type of account set up yet. As soon as they receive the funds from Richland County, then MIS will be brought in and they'll get their own block of instruction, and we're starting ours right now.
Okay, that sounds good. So are you happy with the way it's turning out?
They're not just, they're definitely not the kind of company that just dumps it on you and runs. They're very involved. They want to know if we have questions. They're doing, follow up, and so we appreciate that because we will have questions.
So that's extremely important. Once you get something new to have some explanation. Unless I've got a teenager in my house with my new programming, I don't know what to do with it. So here, Grandpa, do this, so it's fun. So anyways, the monthly visitors log you've got here, you passed out. Any comments on that? Is there any dramatic changes in any way with this?
No, it's usually about this time of the year where we might see a few less people, just due to vacations and trips, and they're trying to get stuff done. They're spending a lot more time outside. Usually about the first cold snap, I think we'll probably see an uptick in numbers, higher than we have been, but we've been pretty steady. Some days is crazy busy, and then other days you have plenty of time to read up on the latest VA bulletins. So
I see in July you went up to 52 from 48 the previous month. So I suppose with the warm weather and people being on vacation, that we'll have to wait and see what happens. But okay, any other comments on that?
Mr. Chairman.
Sir.
Yes.
Mr. C.
Just to save my eyes a little bit here from fumbling around, Karen, how many veterans have we offered assistance to year to date
offered
for
assistance.
claims and benefits?
Was on the forms that she passed out.
Yes, I know. I'm just saving my eyes.
In July, it was 52. Of course, August is ongoing, but the previous month in June, it was 48. So the
I'm
number.
looking for the year to date.
Let
I
me
see.
calculate this quick.
Isn't there a column that we have for year to date? I thought we had a year to date column.
We have a total. We have a total, but I didn't think that you wanted those tallied until the year had been completed. Because the columns that go up.
If you don't have that, let's not waste the committee's time. We'll do it next time.
$181.
Your head?
I did. I used to work at a drugstore.
Is that the number that includes the phone calls and the emails? And
That's everything, the totals per month.
I was referring to just claims assistance. Claims. That's all right.
Okay. Well, the numbers vary each month, but the totals at the bottom are, like I said, 281. So
I think Karen told us that she usually has 4 or 5 people a day sometimes.
anything further? Okay. With that, then the budget report we did. Public input. Is anybody here present would like to say anything? Any questions? Any suggestions? Well, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. We have 4 guests here, and we appreciate you being here. Future agenda items. Is there anything we need to consider for next time?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
At the county board meeting, a resolution was passed. I think it was at Personnel and Finance. A resolution was passed that would require that department head, soon the guidance will come down from the administrator, as I understand it, that all documents are considered public documents presented at a meeting, and that they shall be attached as part of exhibits to the minutes of the meeting when it's published. So that means that these reports of veterans served, any other documents that are presented are a public record and must be attached to the minutes, either attachments or exhibits. The guidance for that administrative process, as I understand it, will come down from the administrator to his department head. It only makes sense, and I think it will be helpful to all of us as committee members to have that information in front of us as we review the minutes. We have the supporting documents for the statements made there. So that is an item that perhaps may be discussed at the next meeting by Mr. Langrick. I would put it on and see if he has any comment. Would suggest we put it on the agenda.
Karen,
Are you familiar with that resolution, Karen?
No, not yet, but I'm sure that the county administrator will email all the department heads. He's very good with communication, so, but can you just kind of restate that one more time for what you would like to put on the agenda?
Discussion by the administrator.
By the administrator?
No, discussion of public record documents attached to the minutes of meeting.
Like record documents as attachments.
As part of the minute. They can
And
be, I think that there'll probably be the latitude to either integrate them in the minutes or submit them as attachments or exhibits.
I think that he should be able to come to the next meeting so that he can answer your questions.
I think so too.
If I haven't been given the guidance within this.
Right. So we can discuss at the next meeting. Clint at 10:30 generally has to leave to go to his other committee meeting, but I'm sure that we could advance that to the front if need be. When we do when we publish this on the official website for the county, I think according to what Don said, is it possible to maybe include some of these things along with the minutes? So we have documentation of that?
Yep, as soon as I get the guidance from Clint on everything and exactly how they want it done, and I'm assuming he's gonna be working with MIS on that. So as soon as the verbiage and language and instruction comes out, then absolutely. But if this applies to, if you want, the county administrator to speak on this, it may be a good idea to have it maybe be in a finance and personnel or a county board state. Because that, it doesn't directly apply to my office, it applies to the entire county.
That's correct. That's correct. It applies to the entire county, but we need to get on board with it, and we may ask to put it on the agenda for discussion and see where we're at with it.
So we'll just bring that up and let deal with it next time, if that's okay. Okay. Yes. No. I tend to slide back, it seems.
You know, the elephant in the room now is Afghanistan.
Yes.
And we have a lot of veterans that I think are in.
Speaking to you, Mike.
Oh, I think I'm quite sure we have a number of veterans impacted by what's going on over there. So I don't know if that fits with our routinely, but obviously they would come to your office if they were in need of So I don't know, it's a concerning situation, and not that it would need to be a regular agenda item, I guess. But, it just, it's a huge deal right now. So I'm just not sure where that fits with us.
Yeah.
I, as a veteran,
Karen?
Just recently, I think it was 2 days ago, I posted on our Facebook page, many links specifically targeted for Afghan veterans. Myself being one, I understand the impact of this. And so I did post on our Facebook page many links, specifically targeted for them. If you want, I can just I can print off a handout. Just print off exactly what I had posted and all the links that are available for veterans in crisis that need to talk right now.
I'm glad you did that. Thank you.
Ma'am, you had a comment. Would you please? That was it? Thank you.
The Facebook page link, absolutely.
Yeah, I think, with the withdrawal and, this has been on for 20 years and there's going to be a lot of veterans now that we're out, maybe wondering why many other things. And of course, you make friends when you're over there. And I did when I was in the service, although it was in Afghanistan. It was in Germany at the time when it was still under World War II regulations. But you make friends, and if we brought the Vietnamese over, now we're trying to bring others over. And this is going to be a conflict. It's going to happen no matter what, no matter how you plan. It's going to be a mess. And veterans may have psychological problems in terms of time that they've put in, and with friends that they've lost, and with friends that they've left behind, and maybe children left behind. You never know. So my guess is that over the next year or so, this may be the case that numbers will go up. We need to be in total support of that. And having said that, there's two things I wanted to suggest. Number one is that we meet every other month instead of every month, because there's not that much, I don't think, that we need to cover anymore. Karen does a good job of taking care of what we need to do that would save money for the county, and that way we could deal with things. And if we have to, we can call a new meeting. So my suggestion is that we meet again in 2 months. And what was the second item? I forgot. I guess our position here is to make sure that Karen has everything she needs to operate her office in the most efficient manner. And also with Karen and Peter, as they do their work, they're going to have people coming in with all kinds of other attitudes and demeanors, and angry or happy or who knows what. And no matter what happens, when they leave, they should know that they got the very best service they could have. And if they've left with that, I think we've all done our job. If there's anything that any of us can do to help, we're here for that purpose. Gary?
Hello.
You're on.
Okay.
You're on. You're the old guy.
Oh, yes. We had a suggestion. Well, in fact, didn't we propose that a suggestion box for your office would be a thing? But we haven't followed up on that, as far as I'm remembering.
Don?
Comment. That's true, we haven't followed up on it. Mr. Langrick at the time communicated that he would look into it and get back to us with a program or a proposal. But that's where we left it.
Okay, thank you for that reminder. Karen?
With the changing of the core council 3 times in the last 4 months, Michael he is playing a whole big game of catch up.
Yes.
And so I think that's one of those things that we just need to sit patiently.
What I would suggest, let's add that to the next agenda. And that way he will be here to directly answer that for us. I think that'll accommodate this problem then. Aaron? I thought you had yours.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go on the record. I don't agree that we should change our meeting schedule to every other month. I think it's important that we meet monthly. We have 1,300 veterans in this county. We are responsible to all of them. I think it's important that we meet monthly to keep ourselves abreast of the activities of the Veteran Service Office and of the issues that are before the county with regard to our honored veterans. So I disagree with your proposal to meet every other month.
Sherry?
I think Don's point is well taken, just because of all the brouhaha going on these days, especially with what we were just talking about. And so anyway, monthly, unless on down the pike things settle down wonderfully,
Yeah.
then that certainly is an option. But for now, it feels like monthly is probably not a bad thing for me.
Okay. I totally understand and I withdraw that suggestion then. So we will, let's wait next month. What would the date on that? We're done with future agenda items. Is there anything else needs to be added? I think we're in pretty good shape. So we got the one that Clint is going to be able to answer both. So that's taken care of. Set the date for the next meeting. What would next month's third Thursday be?
It looks like the 16th to me. I'm looking at September correctly. 16th.
Calendar on the wall.
I would suggest that we just kind of maybe plan the next 2 dates accordingly, just in case the September one would get pushed.
Okay.
So it looks like, Sherry's right, it's, the 16th of September,
Okay.
and then the next one would be October 21st. So those are the next two.
Be fine with me. So if we went ahead and set those 2 dates,
And then for some reason, if September's got pushed, because I know we have more jury trials coming up in the month of September, the clerk report sent out. And I've also got that on there, for future locations for meetings.
right? So if
We
that be,
did identify several of those, but, it would have been very difficult for MIS to wire them, which is why meetings were canceled instead of postponed.
right,
Mr. Chairman, it isn't necessarily that we have the WebEx meeting.
right.
We have to meet at other places.
I was going to suggest that as well, that, there for a while, I thought it was important that we do have it, but at this point, I think we're in a position that we, the members that are really, the public that's really interested are here. And to put this out and require, unless we're here, require this to be recorded, I don't think is any,
Mr.
No,
Van Nelson
necessary.
records the meetings anyway.
what they do.
Mr. Van Nelson records
Oh,
the
yeah,
meetings
that's
anyway.
true, that's true. Generally, Van does that. Okay, so we've set the next 2 meeting dates, September 16th and October 21st, 10 o'clock here unless informed otherwise. With that, unless there's something else, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Don?
I don't have my hearing aids
Are
on.
you moving to adjourn?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, I thought you would. Sherry?
I second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're done.